Father, earthly mother, divine seer that sees.
Church. Yeah, it's just so beautiful. Um, here we are gathering to talk about all sorts of practical things, and we're all able to just be in the moment and show up and go into what actually is here. Because how do we know what our cells really know, other than when we're willing to show up in the moment and follow them, follow the inspiration. One of the things that I feel is relevant to sort of for me to close this out with is it, because it has to it always has to, for me to come back to syntropy and love and life, the spirited metric of what is unfolding, and what is happening through all of this dystopia, distortion, alteration, artificialization is that life, in its capacity to not just know itself, but life's intelligence, which is always building on itself. It's firstly accumulating, and then it comes into abundance, and it becomes more biodiverse and more biodiverse and more. And all that we humans over the last several thousand years have done, have taken all this biodiversity down and down and down and down to the industrial, wastelands that we've seen around us. But life is always moving in the upward spiral. There is no other motion in this universe than the syntropic motion that is just generative, and we witness that as regenerative, but it's just self-generating all the time. And what life through this process is of all this story and unfolding and reality is doing, it's biointelligence as a direct byproduct, because life is the host. Life is the spirited metric in which this test case is being played out. And the cells in every human body that are being affected, life through that is always assessing, always assimilating, always finding out how to be life in the circumstances that is given, and how to always harmonize, and how to remain. You can bring the biggest amount of entropic energies into a field, but they are always serving syntropy to come to know itself more in and of itself. And so what ultimately comes through this is that life's capacity and life's intelligent field of consciousness is being expanded on a level and a capacity that it itself is it perfectly, quote unquote, knows how to navigate, because it is wired for strategies, but it has never been compromised in so many aspects or artificialized in so many ways. So what life just like how they're trying to break the God code, it just keeps fractalizing out. And so as this is happening in our spirited beingness as humans, and all this experimentation is going on, life is learning so tremendously much. And what happens in that process is that at a certain point in any ecosystem, it's almost like the immaculate conception process in humankind. Um, the cells will have worked it out, and in the process, we may lose 1 billion, 2 billion human beings. But that life's intelligence, the consciousness, the spirit within all of these cells, all of these bodies, all of these people, that spirit is universally connected between all of us. And so that web of life is becoming more intelligent, and it's upgrading ourselves at some point, whether we know about that or not. Or not. Hi, I'm going home. Yeah.
Beide.
Yay. And so this is all going to have tremendous transformative outcomes, where the new earth, through the pushing of all of this and the alteration of all of this, life will birth anew out of this naturally in and of itself. It's wired in that strategy, and that is not just a promise, but that is something that we can lean into, and lean into the love of life, lean into that underneath all of this mayhem and the grief that we may, all the shedding that is happening, that is all part of a living process of consciousness coming to know itself to greater extents. And the beautiful thing is that in any ecosystem, when a virus comes in, which only really happens when man has been involved, but in an agroforest or in an agricultural system, and a virus comes in and it kind of devours everything. It's just coming in as a messenger to perform a function. That we live, that this is an industrial monoculture, or it's deficient in some sort of nutrient capacity. Nature isn't deficient by itself. It's mostly humans that are interfering with nature's natural patterning, that want to cultivate for purposes that are just centered onto themselves and that are not about this good ecology. It's not a biophilic model. It's not a for love for life orientation. It's a love for self and our kind of immediate needs. When this virus comes in, it is there to be ferocious and perform its function. But what happens in the process of it is that the ecosystem is always becoming more intelligent. Life is becoming more intelligent. And so when nature has worked out how to, through assessment, and then how to assimilate, what it then does, it either kind of encapsulate it, call it a cancer, um, or it assimilates and dissolves it. And this is the process in this artificialization process that many will think is never going to be repairable. This is just asking life to become even more amazing, more divinely spirited and capable by virtue of, let's say, intention to purify somebody's cellular structure and simply dissolve. And that there is then that is not some like hidden hand of God coming in and clearing nanoparticles out of our cells. That is our cellular intelligence, divinely spirited at its essence, able to just consume and absolve and dissolve these seemingly artificial and metallic, or whatever we call them, particles. And this may sound outlandish, but this is what I know that nature is learning in the process of all of this. So the great beneficiary will always be Sophia. It will always be Gaia. It will always be life, and it will always be love, and it will always serve the light, period. Because the syntropic nature of life is the only existing metric that exists in existence. This entropic thing is distorted human neurological activity based on false belief systems, based on human damage and trauma, and this archonic influence. But all of that is just really, at the end of the day, serving a function with purpose. Mm-hmm. On Syntropy, on Sophia, on Gaia, on life, on God, in order to experience itself and explore these weird algorithms and what it's bound to, and what it's only ever serving is for the syntropic expansion. It may bring it really, it may seemingly really bring it back, but what it's just doing, it's just condensing and consolidating the intelligence that then all of a sudden is put to a new Rubik's Cube, question, and it always solves it. The only thing that we as humans have to do is get comfortable with death and repurpose our neurochemical association to that. Yeah. To understand that you cannot have life without death. Death is life. Death is only equal to change, and change is the only constant in life. So anybody that has a fear of death has been programmed to have a fear of life. This has to do with surrender. This has to do with coming home to this innate knowings of that it's all good, but we do need to remain human. We do need to show up for those feelings because our cells do want to express them. So
Father, earthly mother, divine seer that sees, create me again, take me in your hands, bring out what's inside of me. Guide me in these times while war is being waged on my family. Oh, make me an instrument of song that I might learn harmony. Anchor into me the rhythm of living love, a song in which I can believe. Take my hands, lead me onward.